There is so much to be thankful for. Take a look around and see everything we have within us, everything we want to be. All we need to sustain and keep us arise on time as we prepare. Let us thank God for our blessings and all His precious love we share. There is so much to be thankful for. Take a look around and see everything we have within us, every dream we want to be.
Good morning, and welcome to the center.
Hey, we're here! Thank God I got here just in time.
Good morning,
Julius.
We love you.
Yes.
Welcome to the center. All people are welcome here with open arms.
Everyone, as each of us center, taking in a loving God breath. Each of us are feeling that breath coming into our body, holding us in this sacred space. Knowing that everyone here today are here by divine appointment. That the love each of us are is being felt by everyone in this sanctuary. We are the love and the light. Feel that love and that light ever so gently going around your body, in your body, feeling that glow of love. Breathing that love, that light, and feeling the love and the light. Breathing in and breathing out. Just feeling the flow of love. Because each of us are that love. The light that we spread here and wherever we go. Other people feel our love, our light, our loving energy. People that we come in contact with just feel better because they are in everyone's aura of energy. They just feel better being around each and every one here in this center. Exuding love and peace, compassion, tranquility. feel the love for yourself and for everyone else. As each of us leave this loving place today, our love and our light goes forth. Just feel the love that each of you are. And please join me in saying, and so it is. Namaste.
Please sing with me this beautiful song by Daniel Mayfield. If you haven't done it in a while, it's called Sacred Love.
there is an omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent source, which I call God. I call it spirit. I call it love. And I know that I am one with His Spirit, with God, with love. Knowing that Spirit is omnipresent, I recognize the same for everyone who is present here today. I recognize this in all creation of this good source. And I know that this center is created in that image and likeness of God. The center is here for anyone who wants to experience an spiritual life. The center is here to love and to teach and to give and also to receive. And so I affirm and declare that everyone, every person, every mind who experiences this service today is already blessed by the message that Reverend Stacy is delivering. I know that God has prepared this message for every person, from the youngest to the oldest, for every heart that is within the heart of God. And so I take this message with an open mind and an open heart, knowing that it guides me through my day, through my week, through my month. I am so grateful to know that my words taken by the law and acted upon. I'm grateful for every person and for every heart that beats as one. And I release my word into the law, knowing it is already done. And all as one. And so it is.
Well, I don't know if you know, but it's Daniel Namad month. Okay, that's what I'm going to call it anyway. Just thought I'd call it that. He wrote this incredible song called My Soul is Welcome Here. So this is going to be our up-tempo, congregational. It's a great tune. I sang it one time before when my hubby was back home sick, but now he's here. And Russell's going to help me out because I got a nice beat for this one. It's called My Soul is Welcome Here. Please feel free. We're going to have the lyrics up in 1 second. And if we don't, it's very simple.
Hold on.
Is that me? Crunching? Okay, I'll stop crunching in my mouth. Thank you. You all right? You good? Woo! Yes. Come on now. Please, come on. Come on with me. Oh, yes, yeah. Come on, sing with me. Yes. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. better can you get? That was good.
Thank you,
Oh, I love you.
Patty. Thank you for reminding us. Awesome. While you're standing, if you don't mind, and if it's comfortable for you, please say with me, God bless America and the rest of the world. And just greet a neighbor and say good morning.
My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
If you welcome me,
My soul is welcome here.
that's right.
My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is so welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I love my soul is welcome here. Soul is welcome here. Yes, my soul is welcome here.
So, good morning, everybody. I am Stacy Hilton, one of the co-senior ministers here along with Lvcsl, and I'm very happy to be here this morning. We're talking about self-mastery, and the theme this month is spiritually motivated moral leadership. Self-mastery, and we're talking about spirituality this month. Let's just take a deep breath together. Yes. I have on my comfy pants today. And I don't have on heels. Yeah, it's a brand new me today. Yeah.
I swear to you, I was going to wear something like that.
Yeah? It's so funny. When I looked at myself in the mirror before leaving the house, and this funny memory came back. I went to Benihana's once for my brother's birthday, a long time ago. It was in Beverly Hills, and Gary Coleman was there. And Gary Coleman was acting very strangely. And he has on long boots, like riding boots, and he's doing this throughout Benihana's, like he's fencing. And so when I saw myself in this, I had to laugh. It reminded me of that I look like Gary Coleman today. Oh, gosh. So, there was a student, and the student had just graduated from college and had, top student in her class, and had been submitting resumes and hadn't heard anything for 2 weeks. She's getting anxious because she's kind of a perfectionist and needs a job. Parents say you need a job, right? You're done now. And she's never not succeeded in anything, so she's thinking, okay, well, I'll send out my resume and bam, I should get a job. 2 weeks is a long time for her. Anybody ever waited for a job longer than 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so she goes to see this life coach. She takes the money that she gets from graduation, she goes and sees a life coach. And the life coach says, okay, I'm gonna give you something to do. And so she said, okay, I'm all ears, she's a great student, she's ready. And the life coach says, okay, I want you to go out to the cemetery. And I want you to praise each person there. Walk around and praise each person there and tell them how lovely they are and that we're gonna name them saints and that they did such a good job here on this plane. And then come back to me and tell me how that went. So she did that, she goes out, she praises each person, she's just uses all these beautiful words, she practices all of this, and she gets the right perfect words and spreads that love to each and every person in that cemetery. She comes back, and the master teacher says, okay, well now I want you to go back and tell everybody how horrible they were, and that these same people, and that they should have never crossed paths with anybody because they were absolutely horrific, and that they were ugly and stupid and dumb, And their mamas were ugly, stupid, and dumb too. So she thought, well, that's, not very kind, but I'm willing because, I need a job and I need to get this stuff done. I need to master, be the master of my own destiny. So she goes and she does that, and she's just, she says hateful things to these people. Hateful. She comes back to the master teacher, and she said, well, how did they respond? How did they respond the first time when you told them how great they were and that they were going to be saints and they're honoring? And she looked at her funny, like, well, there was no response. And she said, okay, well, how did they respond when you told them how horrible they were and horrific and that they didn't make a difference and they were stupid and their mamas were ugly and they were ugly? But they didn't. So, the master said, when you too do not hear what others have to say about you, negative or nice, you will know your true inner peace and freedom from suffering. Freedom from suffering and inner peace. I can tell Patty all day long that she is an amazing, giftedly talented singer. And it's true, it's my truth, right? It is true. Who needs to know that in their own heart, in their mind?
Sometimes I do.
Right?
I know what you mean.
Right?
It's hard sometimes too.
Yeah. But when we learn to not take things personally, the good stuff or the bad stuff, because it's all a projection of how I'm feeling about me. And it's my judgment to project anything onto anybody else. It's my own judgment. You with me? Yes. Self-mastery. We teach a class here called Self-Mastery, and one of the books is by Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements. And so that is one of the agreements. Do not take things personally. Now, I am teaching this because I need to learn it so badly that I figure I have got to teach it. Right? That's how you learn. It's tough, is it not? It's tough to not take things personally. And so we work on it. But what you've got to remember is you are already perfect. You're not made from junk. Spirit made you to do and be the best you can be. That's all you have to do. I say it every time I speak almost. There's nothing else. There's no divine plan. Just you being the brilliance and the magnificent light that I feel when I walk through these doors every Sunday. That's all you have to do to be a success. That's it. Can anybody do that? Raise your hand if you can do that. Yeah? You promise? Yeah. All right. All right. So the spiritual mind point of view this morning is we are spirits in form having a spiritual experience. No one and nothing can diminish us unless we agree to it. We must hold the highest vision for ourselves and others to have a fuller living experience. Now, I want to ask somebody, it's kind of going to be interactive church, as Sunshine calls it. Who here is not working on something? Anybody not working on, maybe a health, I'll say challenge, a relationship, they're all relationships, right? Relationship to health, relationship to money, relationship to other people. Anybody not working on anything? No hands, not one person? No wonder there's no prayer request in the prayer box. Okay. So everybody has something that they're working on. Do you think that as you become a minister, maybe that goes away? Makes it harder, right? Got more people. The thing is that we're always, while we're on this plane, we're always working towards something else. And I remember when I first walked into these doors were down on Alexander. Well, actually, it wasn't the first time, but the first time I was actually coming to church all the time on a regular basis and taking classes. And my first day, I'm thinking, I can't wait till I get to that point where I don't have to think about it anymore. I don't have to do anything. My life is just going along strong, smooth sailing, ease and grace, everything. And I never have any hiccups. Now, I grew up with this teaching, and I thought that. And that wasn't that long ago. Is anybody experiencing that right now? Where there's no challenges at all, no bumps in the road? Nobody? Sure, we got work to do. Reverend Anna, Reverend Wanda, come on, we got work to do. No, it's not like that. And it may be like that for a couple weeks, but then you find your next challenge, your next hiccup, and you rise to that occasion, and then that's when you use your work, that's when you do your stuff, right? This past Wednesday, we had Reverend Val Galente, who is a psychologist and an interfaith minister here. We didn't have many people, but that was okay. Her message was just absolutely perfect. And she spoke about communication and, I can't remember, and connection. So as Reverend Cheryl was saying, one of the things that's been close to my heart is interfaith. And I didn't know how to necessarily get into the community because it's a little difficult here. And it wasn't really what I wanted it to be. It was kind of like, oh, you go, you have this brown bag lunch, and nobody's really talking and sharing about what they're doing. So I participated sometimes, and other times I didn't participate. I'm like, oh, I gave it my best shot, but it didn't work out. So Spirit said, you're missing inclusivity, so figure it out. What else are you gonna do? What else are you willing to birth to give this and to be what you want to see it be in Las Vegas? Because I want to see people not being afraid of one another and communicating and living their best lives, no matter what you look like, no matter what your color of your skin is, no matter what your orientation is, no matter how you grew up, your social economic status, no matter any of it. I want us to all get along. It's a tall order, and I'm committed, or I thought I was, until, I'm like, this is nothing, so what do I do? That's been 5 years, right? So Spirit said, and has been saying this for a couple of years, well, you need to create your own thing. You don't like it, then you don't need to, talk negatively about that other group. Start your own thing. Stacey, I don't know how to do that. That's too hard. Really, Spirit? I got other stuff to do. Every time Cheryl and I, that was one of our theme songs, Bring It On. So we are always in the midst of something going on. Everything's always changing here. Y'all know that. Y'all are on the ride with me. And so Spirit again said, okay, Stacey, this is what your thing is. This is what you're called to do. Then do it. I said, okay, we'll make it easy. If you don't make it easy, I'm not doing it. So, as it turned out, I got an email from the police department, and it had all the different, some of the different churches in town, all different denominations and faiths, and I got an email with everybody's name on that list. And I said to the officer that sent it, I said, is it okay for me to send out something from this list? She said, well, let me check. And they said yes. So I sent an email and I said, November 4th, I'm thinking about having a lunch to just invite different faiths to my community so that we can get to learn about one another. Would you all like to come? Now, it's kind of a mass email. So, how many times do you answer a mass email from somebody you don't know?
Yeah.
Well, I got about 8 or 9 responses. Wow. And in the email, my original email, I said, please, invite a friend. Maybe this went to spam. So if you know somebody else, please, tell them to come along. I'd love to have them and host a lunch. So we have about 12 people coming tomorrow. Got about 12 people coming tomorrow. Now, the point of that story is not to tell you, hey, how great I am. The point of that story is that's just one thing on my list of things that I want to do. Just one thing. Anybody not have anything to do that they don't want to do? Anybody? No again. And there's still no prayer request. Yeah. You just take the first step. And if I didn't get responses, my job, like the first story that I told you, is to not take it personally, right? Maybe there's something, another way for me to do this, that what I want to do. The other thing that Reverend Val on Wednesday reminded me is how sometimes who here considers themselves, before I go there, a religious scientist? I know that's an odd term because we're not religious science anymore, but, so religious scientists or, yeah. Well, what should we call ourselves? Centers for Spiritual Livingness?
We're still religious scientists.
Religious scientists, yeah. So what I find sometimes is that I assume sometimes that we all have the same information, that we're coming from the same place. Given my background, I don't have much or any experience in any religion. Who considers this a religion? Religion? Anybody? Anybody? Yeah? I want to talk about spirituality versus religion. And there's no wrong answer. I'm just curious as to what you all think. But sometimes I get the impression, especially after going to Reverend Anna's class, lovely class, her Bible class was awesome. Cheryl and I went to the final class. And we don't really, because we never understood necessarily religion, because it didn't make sense, we kind of think that this is so simple and that we got all this together. And that's not necessarily the experience. Simplicity is, yes, it is a simple thought process, but to do that every single day, to make a decision, as Reverend Cheryl talked about, to actually choose your thoughts, choose the feeling tone from which you speak, that is not the easiest thing, because those are the things that are going to create your reality, aren't they? That's what we teach. Now, I find myself, I know none of you do, because again, there's no prayer request in the prayer box. I find myself where I get a little bit out of sorts sometimes. Cheryl, don't say it. You're Reverend Anna laughing. A little bit out of sorts, right? I'm all up in arms about some little minute thing, my shoes are dirty or something. And I get myself all in a fluster about some insignificant thing. Nobody else does, right? We all do that, don't we? But somehow I forget, even with all the studies, even being in this my whole life, all 54 years, I forget that I have the power to change my response to how I'm feeling. By myself again? I forget that. It takes this long. It takes for me walking from here to that office sometimes. It's not just... Oh, my sister. Love her. Yes, sometimes to the stairs. But that's the challenge. The big stuff I've got down. Because that's where I really know that I need to use my faith. I mean, obviously, if there's a big challenge, if there's a health condition, if there's a broken relationship with my family or my friends, or with somebody here, I know to pray. But, when my shoe's dirty, and I'm mad because I have somewhere to go, and I'm, really, really mad. Well, now what am I going to do? I got to go buy some new shoes. I don't have the money to do that. That's not in my budget right now. I'm making this up, but I'm not making this up.
She's not making it up.
Shh. Peanut gallery. Shh. We all get there with the littlest, smallest, minutest things. And it's just ridiculous. Because all of the joy that I spread by smiling or being kind or loving, I can mess that up. It's the same feeling that people are going to get from me when I'm upset it's a different feeling, but it's still the emotion that I'm giving out, and I want to create a world that works for all, then I need to get a handle on my shoe being dirty. You can substitute with that anything else. Okay. Right? But don't some of us get in that yucky place and we're all upset about, I'm just like, really? In the grand scheme of things, does this really make a difference? It did to me. But no, it really doesn't. But I can use the same power that I use when there's something big as when there's something small. It's the same power. Spirituality versus religion. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said, "We are not human beings having a human experience, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience." Deepak Chopra says, "Religion is belief in someone else's experience. Spirituality is having your own experience." I like that. Spirituality is simply your own conscious self-recognizing that you are more than just a body, that you are a soul with infinite potential. Dr. Ernest Holmes says in What We Believe, we believe in our own soul, our own spirit, our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. So, the jury's still out for me on whether we are necessarily called a religion. I think technically there's some pure things from the higher, after minister, I think like Catholics have the Pope and those sort of things. I think that we're not structured like that, so technically we wouldn't be a religion. So it's a philosophy or way of life for me. That feels better. But then again, I've never been in religion, if that's the case. So of course that feels good for me. Some of the other things I pulled up with this website called Mind Valley, as far as spirituality as opposed to religion. There are no rules to spirituality. See, that's where we kind of have some rules here. We kind of have some rules. I mean, you don't have to follow them. We're not making you stick to them, but we kind of have some rules. Follow your heart, and it encourages you to listen to your intuition and do what is right for yourself and others around you. Now, that sounds like something if you went to one of us that we would say to you, right? So, okay, so we're spiritual, we're not religious. Second thing it has is spirituality is based only on love and not fear. So I would definitely say that we have that. God is always good. Yes, she is. Yes. With spirituality, there is only love. It encourages you to focus all of your energy on the good and to act only based on love. Simple, again, simple, not necessarily easy. Third thing it says on this website is religion tells you the truth. Spirituality lets you discover it. Kind of do that here, right? We kind of do that. Sometimes, you might get one of the revs that will tell you what to do. Practitioners never do that because they don't counsel. But we will, as human beings, we will kind of make some suggestions about what you might do. That's kind of our role as counselors. But really, unless we know your belief system, we can't really tell you what to do, right? So the first thing I ask when we go into prayer is, what is it that you would like to see happen in this situation? Because I have my own idea, my own judgment about what I'd like to see happen. But if it doesn't serve you and I'm praying for you, then we're kind of out of luck there. Next thing is be a midwife. This is our book of the month. And it's called The Tao of Leadership. And page 33, it says this about being a midwife. The wise leader does not intervene unnecessarily. Very sharp. I'm just teasing her. Don't come up to me and say, "You're so mean to Reverend Cheryl," because I'm just teasing. The leader's presence is felt, but often the group runs itself. Huh. Imagine that in Science of Mind. Lesser leaders do a lot, say a lot, Science of Mind and Spirit, yes. Lesser leaders do a lot, say a lot, have followers, and form cults. Even worse ones use fear to energize the group, and force to overcome resistance. Only the most dreadful leaders have bad reputations. Remember that you are facilitating another person's process. It is not your process. Do not intrude. Do not control. Do not force your own needs and insights into the foreground. If you do not trust a person's process, that person will not trust you. Imagine that you are a midwife. You're assisting at someone else's birth. Do good without show or fuss. Facilitate what is happening rather than what you think ought to be happening. Nobody does it. Most of you have kids. I don't have kids, but most of you have kids. Do you ever do that with your kids or your grandkids? Or Gabe's not looking at Liz. I'm just kidding.
Did I just say your quiet?
Imagine that you are a midwife. You are assisting at someone else's birth. Do good without show or fuss. Facilitate what is happening rather than what you think ought to be happening. If you must take the lead, lead so that the mother is helped, yet still free and in charge. When the baby is born, the mother will rightly say, "We did it ourselves." That's the goal. I mean, I could give you all the sage advice that I have. And if I tell you it's sage advice, run the other way. However, it's your process and it's your life. And so me facilitating for you to get to where you say you want to go as opposed to me telling you where you need to go is a whole different thing. Yes? Yeah. So be a midwife. It empowers you to find your own truth in all things and sets no limits to how deep you can go in understanding all there is to know. Next one is religion separates and spirituality unites. Right? Don't you kind of think? You got the dogma, you got the rules, you've got all of this stuff, and I have nothing against religion. Please, believe me. But it is designed to be separate. We're Protestant as opposed to Catholic. We're this as opposed to that. So that's not being inclusive of all. That's I'm better than you are, but you're not where I'm at. I'd say science of mind is, we don't necessarily do that. Spirituality sees the truth in all and unites because the truth is same, but it's the same for all, despite our differences and uniqueness. The next one is the difference between karma and punishment. So most religions believe in heaven and hell and punishment, right? We don't believe in karma, but we do believe in cause and effect. So I don't know where we fit in on that. I'm thinking more spiritual. Spirituality only talks about karma. So you get what you give. And the last thing is walk your own path, and I just kind of talked about that. It's important. We're all here to do that which each of us is here to do. I'm not here to do what Reverend Cheryl is, even though we have the same title, even though we're in the same community. We're here to do different things. Patty's not here to do what Dave does, and even though they're here together as musicians, they do different things. All the practitioners, they're each their own individual force that is absolutely amazing. But we don't want them all to sound exactly the same. There is a formula and a technique from which we pray. But other than that, I don't need one to sound like the other. If there's two of us, then one of us is unnecessary. We all have to find our own path, not compare ourselves to someone else, and to keep walking on the path. And I come here every Sunday to remind myself of that, right? Sometimes Tuesdays, not right now. I'm off right now. So life is an inside job. The outer world is merely a reflection of the inner work. Spiritual mastery requires the same thing that it takes to get to Carnegie Hall. Practice, practice, practice. Yeah, I hear people, I've already taken that class. I don't need to take that. Thanks, Rev Stacy. Okay. I don't need to teach that class. I've taught it too. Every time I teach it, I get something different out of it. I don't need to read this book again. Right? Every time I read it, somebody puts something else in there. Ernest Holmes, I don't know how he sleeps. Or whatever he does. Maybe he doesn't have to sleep where he is these days. But he's always putting something new in my book. I don't know about yours. We've got new classes coming up in January. We're going to offer free foundations. You know, and I know you've taken it a million times. I don't know, are you the same person that you were yesterday? Or last year? Or 10 years ago when you took it? This is a teaching that Ernest Holmes intended to be open at the top. I want to be open at the top. I get stuck in my ways and in my box and I'm supposed to do this, and this. And this teaching allows me to realize that I'm bigger than this box. That there's more to me than the box that I put myself in. And so, I don't necessarily need to have everything brought onto me all at one time. But considering the box that I had placed myself in before and just trying to be perfect. So because I'm not perfect, I never accomplished anything. Anybody else feel me on that? So I just do, something comes my way, I have a passion about it, I see what joy it brings to me about thinking about it, getting excited about it, and from there, if I'm excited, then it's mine to do. The truth for all of us. The truth for all of us. So here's an affirmation. Repeat after me, if you will. I am a divine expression of the one source. I am simply here to be the love that I am and give my unique talent gifts. Sorry. You don't have to repeat exactly. And talents to all those that meet me here on this plane. I know this. I practice it. And promise to always do my best. And so it is. I love you.
In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love.
Thank you. Do either of you want the mic?
Yes. You can start.
Today's principle is we are spirits in form having a spiritual experience. We hold the highest vision for ourselves and others, and we have fuller living experiences.
Our affirmation is freedom is the ability to love myself as I am.
I think that's an affirmation for everyone, don't you think?
Yeah, they made affirmations today. So in the boxes today, I am, and then they can pull out a stone, and it tells them love, peace, joy.
All right. So awesome. Thank you. Oh, hello. Did you all want to share? You don't have to, but you can if you want.
So we talked about this book, and it says when God made light, and that the moon reflects light from the dark and stuff. And we talked about our body parts. And what body part makes you want to play and stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Very good.
Bo joined us for today, and this is his part of the project. and his eyes are brown, and he has a great smile, and the favorite thing he likes in school is recess. Okay. He's in first grade, and he has a lot of pets. He has a dog, a cat, fish, and a snail. And he wrote this all about himself. And we welcome him.
Stacey, I remember that look on your face. I would like to ask our ministers to please come forward. All of you. Any visiting ministers or practitioners also. Oh, look at you. You're so cute today. I know she always is. I would like to ask our ministry of prayer team, our practitioners, if you would please come forward. They hold the center up, and they hold each and every one of you up. And I don't think we being the ministers or anyone here could do it without any one of them. So if you would like to pray with one of them, they're available for you today. I sound like a salesperson, but there's also, as Stacey mentioned, no prayers in the prayer box. We have what is called God's Pocket here, and in the Grand Hall we have a place where you can put a prayer request. We have a phone number. We have, just lots of ways for you to get a hold of us if you need support. Okay. Let's stand and connect. As Reverend Stacey gives us our benediction.
Yes. And I am just so very blessed to be a part of this loving community. A part of this oneness. Knowing that this place makes such a difference in my own heart. That I'm able to move out into collective consciousness with that love in my heart. And so I just declare freedom as my birthright. I declare that this thing called spirituality, this thing called science of mind, whether you consider it a religion or just a pathway to spirit, I claim it as good and very good. I claim it as that which is in my heart and my soul, and that it is the means that I am able to do all things. As long as I can be with my source, I just move and take the next step from the consciousness, knowing that I am one with my source. And that's all I need. And so it's from that place that I know that is the truth for each and every person here. I am just so grateful for everything that this center gives. And right now I just want to include Wendy and Bruce and the family in my prayer. I know they had a loss. I believe Patty, I'm hoping that I'm saying that right, this Wendy's mom that passed away. And so I just know that Patty's doing her thing, and she's smiling right here and right now with the family. And we walk with the family, knowing that this too shall pass. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And together we say, and so it is.
Love one's all are we.
join us for some birthday cake, and please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I know this in my mind. I feel it in my body. And so it is. Have a great week.
So